This is intermission, December 30th, 2020. I'm your host, Calvin Cassidy. This will be our last broadcast for 2020. Be some big time celebrating in a couple of days. Welcome to my living room in Carl Junction, Missouri. I have my partner Kitty sitting in my lap. You may see her tail or ear, or she might even show you her entire face. If you see it, you'll know it's her. I was going to feature some of the best shows of 2020, since this is the first year for intermission, but I decided maybe I wanted to close out Christmas first, because this is such an extraordinary year, an extraordinary Christmas, and so I'm going to present A Christmas Story. It was late on Christmas Eve. Midnight Mass had just concluded, while I lie in bed waiting for sleep. I thought of all the Christmas lights on trees, lights in yards, candle lights, and even the street lights. And I thought of all the Christmas music on the radios, on playlists, in churches, in homes. And I thought of all the gifts for families and for friends and for those in need. I thought of all the toy drives and of all the food drives and all that families, communities, churches, and organizations had done to make this holiday possible for so many that were in need. Then I thought of all the lights of Christmas channeled into a single point of light, the Star of Bethlehem. And next I thought of the Christmas music absorbed into one single anthem, the voices of the angels. And finally I thought of the gifts for humanity that represent the gifts for the Christ child, and the red and white of our mortal Santa becoming the spirit of Christmas. And slept came. Not your normal Christmas Eve thoughts or dreams. The sun rose early on Christmas Day, and the spirit of Christmas rained down on a hurting world. Christmas happened. There were toys for boys and girls. There were Christmas dinners for families, shelters for the homeless. Just as we enjoy the smile on the face of a hopeful child, society enjoyed some relief for families, parents, and all that were in need. For myself, my prayers for this day were answered. A Merry Christmas for all was made possible by the combined efforts of many, many, many who made extra giving a priority this holiday season. It was a result of generous giving by corporate America. On Christmas Day, all seemed right with the world. I slept that night with some joy in my heart. I awake the next morning. I scanned the events of the upcoming day. There was nothing registered. I was all used up. And then my brain tripped back to the early lockdown days, the days where we spent day after day after day with nothing to do. I became consumed with the factors of the coronavirus. The Christmas season had provided weeks of distraction from this historical health crisis. A day later, it's back. It had never left, just shrouded by the joy of the holidays. On Christmas, our Christmas Day was spent at home alone because of quarantines. We watched Midnight Mass on our computer. Our grandboy's instrumental presentation for the midnight service was scrubbed because of the virus. Sobering memories of the past came roaring back. 4 COVID funerals in as many weeks, and the death toll just keeps growing. 1 in every 1,000 Americans is dying from the virus. Sleep did not come so easy this night. The next morning, I struggled to get out of bed. I displayed symptoms of depression. Today was my grandson's 17th birthday. He celebrated at home with only his brother and his mom. My heart ached. I needed help. I was alone as my wife was working, and I needed to be rescued. As I stared at the lights of the Christmas tree, I felt a warmth taking over. But as I closed my eyes, embarrassment and shame came upon me. I had completely lost my faith. In my living room, alone, except for my companion, Comfort Kitty, and the bright illumination of the lights on the tree, I took my concerns to God. I opened my heart and mind. My mind was exploding. My heart was heavy as I unleashed all of my problems and concerns. Another deep breath, more shame and guilt. While I accepted the fact that all the world was suffering, I was one of the lucky ones. Another deep breath, and my anxiety and worries seemed to melt away. Those problems and concerns were God problems, not for me to solve, not for me to mitigate. And a final deep breath, and I surrounded. My faith is restored. And once again, I'm reminded of that. I am a servant of the great problem solver. To summarize, Christmas Day is a time like no other. There is a gathering of light to guide us, and there is a collection of voices singing praise, and there are gifts for humanity in honor of the Christ child, and mortal man does become spiritual. It is a day when we accept the miracles of life. We accept the future on faith. We build our dreams on hope, and we survive to love and be loved. Christmas is a blessing. But then tomorrow comes, and the problems of the world remain. There are still people looking for jobs and families looking for shelters, and there are many, many, many who do not have enough to eat. But because of Christmas, we are reminded to not give up. We have faith, we have prayer, and we have love. But most importantly, we are reminded that we serve a great God. Let's take a minute and look at some special days. There are very few left in this year, but the 30th, today, is National Bacon Day. Bet you a lot of people like to celebrate that. And of course, tomorrow is National Champagne Day. Don't forget your property taxes are due tomorrow. And it's New Year's Eve. As far as the nature scene, nothing's on the nature scene for the rest of the year. The weather is supposed to be cold and messy, so just stay in. Some organizations offer New Year's Day hikes. You might check that out. And New Year's Day is Friday. Remember, it's just another day in time. So don't expect great health or great economic changes as the year changes. Also, a thought for the new year: if you want change, let it start with you. If society keeps doing what it's been doing, then things will keep being like they are. That's it for tonight, and that's it for this year. Happy New Year. Intermission is over, and it's time to get on with your life. See you next year.